in the morning, well, technically this morning, we poured these on a video, and I knew that they would dip some as it sank and set, so there's some slight little dips. I'm going to kind of pick it up and see if I can show you. And just where it divots in the center some. So I mixed up a 1/2 ounce of resin, 1/4 of an ounce of part A, 1/4 of an ounce of part B, and we're just doing clear. And I'm just using it to fill in the divots so that the back will be, or if this becomes the front, whichever side this becomes, will be completely level and flat instead of sinking in. So I'm just going to take a popsicle stick, just add resin. The resin is not fully cured, but it's hardened enough that you can move this, you know. But it's still a little bit tacky to the touch. So I don't want to touch it because I don't want to get fingerprints on it. I just want to fill it in as best I can. And then torch it. I'm going to make sure you get all the way in the corner. This is a tedious process. You don't have to do this. You can leave it as is. You can even sand it down, you know, afterwards. But the last pieces I didn't do this to, they weren't perfect for me, and I'm a little picky on stuff like that. So we're going to do this time and see how I feel about it. I've seen a few other artists do it, and they've got good results. And these were just leftover resin test pieces anyhow. So it's not going to be a huge deal either way. I do think they make great gifts for the person that we were making the butterfly for. But we'll see. Okay, I got one more to fill in, and then I'm going to torch. And I'm going to tap it and just make sure that all the little areas are filled. Okay, I'm going to set that resin to the side. I still haven't got the hang of the culinary torch yet, so I'm just going to use these torches until I get it down good, because I don't want to burn resin, I don't want to ruin my molds. So it may need more butane in it for it to work fully. That may be the problem. So we will see. And I'm just giving it a moment for bubbles to rise. Then I'm going to tap it. I'm going to look from the side and make sure all the little dots are sticking up, because that's what allows the necklace piece to go through. So we're going to let those set for about 24 hours, and we'll come back and see if they stayed level, and then they'll be good. So I'm just going to move these out of the way so that they can be setting. So these are not done yet. They're just partially. They're still a little tacky, so I want to let them finish before I remove them from the tape. But there's the triangle. I'm going to show you the other side, just so you can see how that it kept it perfectly flat. There is one bubble in the very tip of this one that survived somehow. And then the butterfly one did pretty well. Most of the colors stayed in their own area. A few of the yellows leaked into the whites. It's not too very bad. And then here's the back. I will have to sand a small portion of the back because a little area got away from itself. And then this one. some resin tilted out and got stuck to the top. I'll have to deal with that later. I must have had it tilted back a little too much. But there's the key. But there is some resin back here that I'll have to deal with. But thankfully, because the silicone was under it, didn't mess anything up. And it came off easy. So I've got a little bit of resin left, and I figure while I've got you guys here, we might as well make something else. So I'm gonna stand up and grab my mold. Here. And this is the mold that we've been slowly adding the little extra resin into. It's almost full. It doesn't have much left to go. So we're just going to mix up a color and top that off. I'm going to set it over here. So we're just going to add a color to this and then we'll top that off. And I think we will use the Arteza Iridescent acrylic in Fancy Black. It's like a blackish gold color. I'm going to shake it to the bottom. We have a little under a ½ ounce of resin. I'm hoping that that's enough. We're just going to put a couple little squirts of this in here because you want about 1/10 of the amount. And it's better to add less, and you can always add more because if you add too much, you can't take any out. So I'm just adding a little bit. Mix it up really good. Stir the bottom, the sides. Make sure it's not completely see-through, and then it's where I want it to be. And then we're just gonna, I'm gonna move this over here so you can see it better. And we're just gonna pour it in and add a layer. Hopefully this will be the final layer in this one. It might not be. Might not be quite enough, but that's fine. We're just using extra. So the next resin project we do, we will use any leftover resin from that to top this off and finish her up. I'll wipe it all off the stick. Let it do a nice even layer. Close the paint. And we're just going to torch it very carefully so that we don't mess up the mold. I want to get in all the corners. Just a short burst. And do the center. Okay, and then we'll come back and torch it again several times throughout the next hour. Try to get any bubbles that raise. And there's still enough for another layer about the same size. So next project we do, we have extra, we'll come back and add to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this short little video. And definitely remember to subscribe and like this video.